Hello, I'm constitutional attorney Catherine Henry, and this is the Constitution segment recap for Season 2, Episode 1 of Restore Freedom Weekly. This week we talked about instructing government. In fact, our topic was effectively instructing your government in 2023. We've been fighting against the tyranny for years, and it often feels like we're just spinning our wheels. This episode talked about how to avoid the burnout and have the most impact for your state and local government, how to have the most effective messaging, how to get the message in front of your representatives, and how to get real change done. That's what we're all about, right? So this is just a simple recap. So to hear the full discussion and the sources involved, watch that full episode, the link for which is in the slideshow of this presentation. And of course, the link for this slideshow is in the description of this video. Or if you're just listening to it on a podcasting platform later, it's in the description of this segment. So the basics: governments are instituted to protect our God-given liberties. We get our rights from God, not the government. Government itself has no rights, and government only has those powers which we specifically delegate to it. We, the people, created our Constitution and our very form of government. The U.S. Constitution is the supreme law of the land. No federal law, no state constitutional provision, no court order, no government action whatsoever can be repugnant to the Constitution. If it is, it's automatically void on its face. What does this mean? It means government cannot act unless a specific power is granted to it by the Constitution. Government is prohibited from doing anything that violates the U.S. or state constitutions, and every government official is sworn to an oath to uphold the U.S. Constitution. So, what about this topic? Well, let's start first with avoiding the burnout. And actually, this is something that would help give you the most effective messaging. You need to pick 3 for 2023. So, again, I know it's hard. We shouldn't ever have to give up on our constitutionally protected God-given liberties, but let's make sure that we are not, as individuals, burning out from the overload of trying to fight all these fights, right? And try to put out all these fires. Let's just focus 1 year at a time and take it 3 topics at a time, just for now. Okay. So sometimes you have topics on equal protection, due process, privacy from government, medical freedom, unenumerated rights, governmental accountability. Again, if you're just listening to this, make sure you do go ahead and open that PowerPoint or slideshow presentation, because you'll see the constitutional provisions in there. Constitutional carry, right to life, right to property, parental freedom, free speech, free press, law enforcement officers making arrests without knowing the law, petitioning your government, reserved powers of the people, constitutional supremacy, religious freedom, unreasonable searches and seizures, petitioning the government, peaceably assembling. These are just some of these are the main topics when we talk about constitutionally protected God-given liberties that the government overwhelmingly and repeatedly violate. And so pick 3. Pick 3 that mean the most to you this year, that are timely in nature, based on what you see and the ways you feel like you can be most effective and feel passionate about what you're doing. Our number 3, our 3 for 2023, we're going to go with medical freedom, right to property, governmental accountability. And because I can't help myself and I feel the need to help push these 2 along, especially given what happened in the United States Supreme Court last year, and this is affecting us all across the country, I'm also going to be dabbling in constitutional carry and right to life issues. And if you want to have access to that document I referenced in the full episode, the document that I submitted to my legislative delegation for yesterday's meeting, you can see that. The link for that PDF is in orange on this particular slide. So, most effective messaging. Number 1, pick 3 for 2023, like we just talked about. Find the organizations that match that topic that you can follow. We talked about that. So example, Michigan open carry or 2A EDU would be examples in Michigan or beyond for the constitutional carry aspect, or Michigan for vaccine choice, or Florida Freedom Keepers would be two examples of medical freedom organizations that you can follow that can help you keep up to date on updates and things like that. You have to have your message organized in a way that's not going to lose the attention of those who need to hear it the most. So you need to tell them very briefly initially what are you asking them to do? Are you asking them to draft a bill? Are you asking them to repeal an old law? Are you asking them to initiate or put onto the ballot a constitutional amendment? Oftentimes that can be done with a joint resolution of both portions of your state legislature. Uh, then you need to tell them why and give them examples. In my particular case, the pieces that I am suggesting, I didn't really need to tell them the why in terms of giving them examples, but we always need to tell them the why in terms of giving them reasons in the law or here the constitutional provisions that require them to take action here. And make it easy on them. Tell them how they can get it done. I provided them actual bill language that they can copy and paste and fight for freedom in this way, the easiest way for them. So getting your message in front of representatives, you need to go to legislative delegation meetings if you're in Florida or a similar state, coffee hours if you're in Michigan or a similar state, in district coffee hours no matter where you are, Capitol office hours no matter where you are, committee meetings. You also need to utilize other resources to reinforce your message, emails, phone calls, social media. And the biggest thing I would say, get 3 others to join your efforts on each of your points. So for the 4 main, I actually had 4 of the bigger 5 that I selected. I had 4 that I put in front of my legislative delegation. And so I need to find 3 people, maybe it's the same 3 people for each, but 3 people to help push and reinforce that message for each of those 4 points or 4 bills that I'm asking for them to introduce and pass this year. So again, getting your message in front of representatives, you need to make sure you're bringing that message to your state senator and your state representative if they are state related issues at all, your county commissioner, if there's anything at the county level that would be involved with any of those issues, and your city council member or city council as a whole. Again, this is something I talked about. You could be super effective with the minimal amount of time if you keep it consistent and you follow this pattern or this format, but go in person and online once a month. Just do your best to do one of each once a month. And oftentimes you might find coffee hours or things like that, or some of these other meetings might be in the evenings, whereas committee meetings and other things like that are often during the day. So no matter what your schedule is, you do have some opportunities to try to make it. Now, even if you're just there and you have to do a one-on-one meeting, try to snag 15 minutes of your representative's time that way. There are ways you can try to get this done. So in person and online once a month, that's the goal. And again, getting 3 others to join you on your efforts for each of these points. So I put into here a copy or a link, I guess you could say, to the video for what I did yesterday at the Volusia County Legislative Delegation meeting. So you can watch the whole 6 minutes. It was roughly 3 minutes of me talking and then 3 minutes of back and forth with my with the members of the delegation. And so that's embedded into this. You'll be able to watch that here, but I'm not going to play it in this short here thing. Make sure no matter who you're talking to and what the topic is, you reel them back in to remind them of their constitutional oath of office, because each are required to take that. So make sure to check out every week our true or false question of the week. This week, it was having your voice heard by your legislators very early in the legislative session or even before is not that important, especially if others are speaking on the same issues. And that, my friend, that answer is false. Of course, it is very important to repeat your point with yourself and others as many times as possible. So please make sure to take a look at all the resources we have for you. Thank you so much for joining us today.